Hello again, I'm Phil Smythe, and welcome to my in-depth reviews of the Tai Lopez Business Entrepreneurship Accelerator program. We're up to step number 8, and this one is called Structure by Tai, and what he really means is business structure, as we'll see. As you probably know, most people who start their own businesses are out of business within 5 years. And is that because their ideas sucked? Probably not all of them. A lot of them, there's quite a few reasons why people go under, but Tai's hypothesis is that the underlying problem is the structure. You know, you can't build a tall building on a faulty foundation. He didn't say that, I said that. And he talks about this quote from Joe Salatin, who's one of his mentors. You know, structures and systems will always trump willpower. So, you know, Tai has supposedly done business in many countries, and he's figured out that there's many different business structures, and there is no one answer and to what's the best one for you. Tai throws in another anecdote from The Office. He seems to watch a lot of The Office TV show. And then a maze metaphor where he talks about the constantly changing aspects of the business maze, but that's not about structure either in this particular case, because this episode is actually about incorporation structure. So when you are setting up your business, there's 4 things you have to remember. The first one is keep your business separate from you. You know, there's limited liability is what we're talking about here. There's a few reasons for this. One is, you know, if the taxes get screwed up, if something happens and the company gets sued, if somebody gets injured, you want this company to be separate from you as a person. Companies now, like it or not, are treated like they are living entities. So keep that entity separate from you. That means different bank accounts, different credit cards, you know, different phone numbers, everything like this should be separate. And if you don't do it separately and something happens, they can come after you, and they do. So that's thing number 1, keep your business separate. Number 2, when you incorporate, and you should incorporate, use a lawyer. You know, you can sometimes do these things online, or you can, you know, do it by yourself or whatever. Spend the money and get a lawyer to draft up, you know, your items of incorporation, and it will be worth it in the long run if your business is successful, because a successful business comes under target, and you need to be protected, and the best way to be protected is from day one with a lawyer, setting up this business structure and explain very clearly to your lawyer what you're trying to do and what might happen and all the rest of it. But number 3 is, just because you haven't incorporated yet doesn't mean you can't start planning. You know, you can do pretty much everything. You could write your software, you could develop your product within reason, you know, prototypes, all these things like this. You can do that before you can incorporate. What shouldn't happen before you incorporate is dealing with customers or getting investors. Those 2 things should wait until after you've actually set up a legal business entity. And number 4, and this is for the beginning and onwards, get an accountant. For God's sakes, don't do your taxes by yourself. Yes, you can use, you know, Quicken or whatever it is, online books, and, you know, all these things like this. And technically they work, but first of all, there's a lot of minutia in tax law that a good tax accountant will be able to take advantage of, saving you money. And number 2 is that for an accountant is that, you know, using an accountant gives you a level of deniability. I mean, of course, you're signing the paper, but it's on your accountant's head that those taxes are done correctly, and so they do try. You hear stories about accountants ripping off. Forget that. Just find an accountant that you like and trust and use them. Don't do it yourself. I can't say it enough. That is the 4 points, Tai's 4 points of a structure. A bit simplistic, of course, as usual from Tai. Tai threw in another one that was don't date your employees because it violates that rule of separation. I didn't realize that was the reason, but there you go. So, that's it for the structure lesson. It's short and sweet, mostly because it's so light on content, but there you go. Anyway, questions. First one is, if you have a company already, did you form it with a lawyer's advice? And if you haven't formed already, do you know where you can find a lawyer to help you incorporate? Even in small towns, there'll be a lawyer that specializes in this kind of thing. You want a specialized lawyer. You don't need a criminal lawyer. You need somebody in corporate law or something like that. Contract law. What Tai doesn't address is, what have you incorporated already without a lawyer? Go to a lawyer now and try and fix things or get advice. It's worth the couple $100 you'll spend. Question number 2. How are you going to keep things separate? Do you have a business bank account? Will you get a business bank account? Phones and all that. Do you have a plan about how to keep these things separate? And question number 3, have you been using an accountant, and why not? It's basically the same question as a lawyer. If you're in business right now, have you been using an accountant? And if not, why not? And if you're going to go into business, do you know where you can find an accountant? Again, you want somebody who's good at small business. I'm presuming most of you are going into small business tax law. Wherever you may be around the world. Like I say, I'm in Japan. I certainly don't do my own taxes here. So that's it for step number 8, structure. Maybe there were some helpful words of advice in there. I don't know. But, if you have any questions, you can ask me. You can put them down there in the comments. This is a brief lesson, but it's actually really important because getting the company structure right at the beginning is really important if you happen to have a successful company. So, I'm Phil Smythe. This has been step number 8 of my in-depth reviews of the Tai Lopez Business Accelerator program. We'll see you very soon for step number 9.